Hey guys, how's it going? Torsar here with another sports talk video today. I'd like to talk about who's going to be Coach of the Year in the NFL for the 2022 season. Going forward, I don't know if I'm going to, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think I'll want to talk about that. Not very exciting. The MVP. I guess that could be interesting, but I think pretty much everyone's already just given it to Patrick Mahomes. The loss of Tyreek Hill, going to the Dolphins, and just keeping on going on like nothing even ever happened. Getting the one seed in the AFC, Jalen Hurts getting injured. I guess you could make a case for Joe Burrow, but nothing really changed with that team. They pretty much, copy pasted their season from the year before. Not saying they're not going to be dangerous going into the playoffs and everything, or continuing in the playoffs. But remember, this is a regular season award. This isn't like, we're going to start counting the stuff that's already happened in the first week of the playoffs. And until the playoffs are done, I don't really want to talk about maybe an interesting topic like where the veteran QB is going to go, like what's Tom Brady going to do, what's Aaron Rodgers going to do. Can get into that in the off season, because as we've seen in the last few years, those topics can just they're interesting at first and then they just start dragging on, and then it's been the Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers special. So I don't know, maybe I've actually talked myself out of that now that I think of it. But let me show you guys. I kind of came up with a little notepad first before I did this, so I didn't just have to do this off the top of my head. So let's get to that. Now, looking at this, I didn't mean to do it in descending order, but honestly, besides maybe switching Nick Sirianni and Kyle Shanahan, this is probably, if I had a vote, I don't know how deep they go, maybe the top 3, top 5, I don't really know, but this is probably the way I would vote for. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, so I'm a little biased, but I think the majority right now would probably name Brian Daboll the Coach of the Year. So, the Giants roster didn't really change much from last year, which they were just one of the worst teams in the NFL. They picked up Thibodeau, some other, decent draft picks, but is that enough to just totally take a team from what they were last year to, making the playoffs? No, I don't think so. Daniel Jones just showed tremendous improvement. I talked about the other day that you can't give this coaching staff all the credit for his turnover improvement, because he has been improving that year by year steadily. But it's, as far as the fumbling goes, that's one thing, but the interceptions, yeah, you can give some of that. That's got to be somewhat the offense, right? And the guy was left unsigned, going into this year in his 5th year, and now he's almost assuredly going to get I don't know, I want to say a big contract, but he's going to get a decent contract. I don't think there's anyone right now who wouldn't say he's a top 10 QB in the NFL. It's we all know what the Giants were last year. We all saw what they were this year, and he did that in the best division in football this year. The NFC East got 3 teams in, had the number 1 overall seed. Dallas was the top wild card team. So next, I think, Kyle Shanahan. Now, normally you would say, all right, this was more, just they've kept on rolling along with what they've done normally. But losing Trey Lance in week 2, going to Jimmy G, who, we are all just waiting for him to get hurt. Losing him in week 13, which could have been disastrous for their season. And then taking Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in last year's draft, and he just kept on going. They went into the playoffs with a 10-game winning streak. No offensive drop-off, if not an improvement. Got the number 2 seed in the NFC. I think just for those reasons alone, and the consistency of the defense and everything, because that might not be enough to get you the nod for Coach of the Year, but it's at least something where you got to at least give the guy credit for it. There was no drop-off on that side of the ball. Next, Nick Sirianni, obviously. They looked like the best season for most of the year until Jalen Hurts was injured. Still ended up with the 1 seed. I put despite Hurts getting hurt. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Hurts himself, he showed major improvement from last year. I know he got a new weapon in A.J. Brown, but there's a lot of guys who get new weapons from year to year, and they don't necessarily always do anything with them. Again, did it out of the best division in football. Next, Dan Campbell. They didn't make the playoffs, and I know they had that 1-6 start, but I mean, let's face it, this is an annual bottom of the barrel team. The team got better as the year went on, which is what you're looking for from coaching in any sport. I don't care what it is. If it's a team-based sport, you're much better off playing your best ball at the end of the year than you are at the beginning or midway through the year, which some of these teams can be guilty of. Jared Goff, he seemed to thrive in they actually, you wouldn't think the Detroit Lions, especially coached by Dan Campbell, to have a high-powered offense. They were 6th overall in team scoring this year. And maybe the most impressive thing they did all year, which I would attribute a lot of this to coaching and just the overall culture, is they spoiled Aaron Rodgers' chance to make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers had a win-and-get-in scenario. He's owned that division for years, and they knew going into the game, which was so garbage of the NFL, to have that game at 4 and the Seahawks game, the night game, they knew going into the game they actually couldn't make the playoffs, and they still spoiled it. That was enough for them to want to win the game. All right, next, and after this, I put these guys on, Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings, first-year coach. He took a team that's been decent to good lately under Zimmer, but he actually totally transitioned the team, whereas Zimmer was known for his really good defense. Now they're known for an even better offense than they were under Zimmer. Now the defense dropped off a bit, and that's why I don't think he could really has too much of a chance for Coach of the Year. Maybe you can argue you can actually put him ahead of Dan Campbell or Kyle Shanahan. Maybe it should be Daboll, Sirianni, O'Connell. But the team this year, they were 11-0 in one-score games, and they were 10-0 when favored by 3. They took care of their business. It was, I know they had a disappointing playoff game, but remember, this is a regular season award. I'm doing this after week 1 of the playoffs, so it doesn't seem like, whatever. No, come on, the Vikings were garbage. No, they were a good team. Won the NFC North that, again, has been dominated by Aaron Rodgers year after year. And last, I think, so far this has been an NFC fest, so I had to throw a couple guys in here from the AFC. Doug Peterson, who can argue that Jaguars year last year, that was one of the worst, most messiest seasons in NFL history. That was just a disaster under Urban Meyer, so much controversy. The Jaguars haven't exactly been, world beaters in their history anyway. Trevor Lawrence showed major improvement from last year. And again, just like the Lions, they didn't start the year off great, but they kept improving, played their best ball at the end of the year, and actually won their division in a win-and-get-in game, which, and they're still going. They got a chance. That would be, imagine if they could beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, that doesn't have anything to do with the Coach of the Year, but, man, the Jaguars fans, you got to be excited about that team, okay? And I'll do notable mention. These guys really don't have a chance because they pretty much just maintained their team's greatness. But again, I just wanted to throw a couple AFC guys in there. Andy Reid, I mean, I think he gets the Michael Jordan effect where you could just, name him every year. Just like you could have named Jordan the MVP every year, LeBron the MVP every year. I think you could say the same with Andy Reid, but we all know how these voting goes. Once you set that precedent, you kind of have to do something extra special, which is tough when you're that good. But maybe for the MVP award for Patrick Mahomes, losing Tyreek Hill, that was enough to give him that extra special. But overall for the team, I don't think they've done anything really that we haven't seen them do before. And again with Zach Taylor, it's the same exact thing. I mean, this is a team they made the Super Bowl last year, and they just kept it going. I mean, they didn't really lose any major people that they made up for. But I think, again, you got to throw that guy in there. So obviously, you see from my thumbnail to start the video who I think's going to win it. And I truly do think he'll win it. This isn't just the Giants fan in me speaking. The Giants, they had a great year. Some people are saying this team of destiny stuff. I know it does have similarities to the 07 season. A QB that's being doubted as is he really the guy? If you remember back to Eli Manning before they won that year, and even during the year, it was, oh man, is this really? He's not his brother. Tom Coughlin on his way out. He's on the hot seat, and we all know what happened that year. I don't want to hold him to that standard. It just looks good going forward. The only one who I could see maybe having a chance is Nick Sirianni. Maybe if the Lions, obviously, if they hadn't started off 1-6, I think you could make a strong case for Dan Campbell. That's probably would be my top three. Kyle Shanahan, I don't know how much credit he'll get for the QB thing, but he should get credit. It's amazing what they've done with the QB, especially if they end up, in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. It's just amazing. Obviously, it doesn't have anything to do with Coach of the Year, but we'll see what happens. But, let me know what you guys think. There's probably some things I forgot, some of their accomplishments, but I don't know. I think this is a cut and dry one. Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.